do.
Listen, I'm going to be making some phone calls after we get off of here.
The main topic of today is it's a little lighter. I feel like it's a little lighter topic than everything.
But kind of related to what we just
But
talked
it's kind
about.
of kind of related. Pastor side hustles, right? Like some of it, sometimes it comes out of necessity, sometimes it comes out of a hobby. There's a bunch of different reasons why we do side hustles. So I can tell you right now, Jeff and I had a side hustle together. We've talked about it before. We had a t-shirt printing company.
Okay, but let's be straight. It was a side hobby because it didn't pay us anything.
Oh, we shipped internationally.
We hustled though. We hustled.
We hustled, and yeah, I mean, it was a thing we did. But like, I mean, we were printing banners and doing other stuff, a lot of design work, which I think it tends to be, when you are a solo pastor trying to just grind your way in ministry and you have to do all the jobs in your church, it seems like the creative stuff like printing and designing tends to kind of boil to the top because it's just something we have to do it all. We have to have Adobe for our work. Let me also make a couple bucks on the side while I do it, right? And so it seems like that seems to be the situation. But I know guys, I think of my buddy Anthony who did mechanic work for people, and made money like that. So I guess let me ask this: what are some side hustles you guys have done, and then we'll ask the reason why.
My favorite side hustle that I do is do videography. I got a wedding the 10th and I got another wedding the first week of December. I shoot events for Sumter, which is the city I live in. I shoot one in Lake City, which is about 20 minutes away. I started it because I love videography. I was doing it when I was a student pastor because my church had like not many people in it. And I was like, if you're not big, look big. So I went and got a camera and started filming. And I realized, man, I really like this. And then my brother, he does this professionally. He shoots conferences. He travels America shooting videos. So I kind of worked out a deal with him. Hey, I'll be your second shooter in a wedding for a season if you give me this gear. So he gets a tax write-off and I get gear. And what it's turned in for me is a place to really have just some supplemental cash for like going on vacations and taking care of Christmas. But one of the coolest things that I've experienced by doing the side hustle in the same town that I'm in is I have interacted with so much more of the community that is just not churched. Like I shoot video for these people in our town who, quite honestly, they own a lot of the town. And so when I shoot for a lot of their events, I'm meeting people that never darken the doors of the churches around here because they're too busy. And so consequently, when I see people at TJ Maxx or Walmart or in the restaurant, they're, hey, Delmar, I don't know if they know me because I'm a pastor or because I'm a videographer. And I actually kind of like how my side hustle in some ways has helped out just me being able to wrap my arms around this community. But yeah.
So the side hustle conversation for Andrew and I goes back quite a few years. It's one of the reasons that we're still friends today.
And a friend's a friend forever.
He always breaks out into song when we.
If you make money on the side with them.
And invest it into a good Roth IRA. I'm sorry.
Hey, the why is very simple. I have 5 kids. Andrew has 4 kids. We needed a way to, like you said, Del, pay for Christmas. Pay for a vacation every now and then. So the side hustle became very, very important for my family income early on. Andrew and I, we've written for DYM as a side hustle. Me personally, I work now on the side for a video production company, and we primarily, as of late, have been Zooming and live streaming funerals for people all over the country, which has been a really cool industry. And it's been booming. So we have a great relationship with some area funeral homes.
As long as people are dying, Tim is making money.
Oh
and these funeral homes don't know how to do these things. And we know how to live broadcast services. So it's something we know how to do.
Listen, I'm going to be making some phone calls after we get off of here.
I watched a funeral broadcast from a funeral home from someone that I knew, and it was the worst thing. And knowing the little bit of the funeral industry that I know, I'm like, they probably charged this family $1,000 to have a camera set up in the back of the room. And
I guarantee you it was more than that, but yes. Yeah. So I do a little bit of that with video production. My brother is a filmmaker. So whenever he makes a film, I do my best to get on set. And as long as I have one speaking role, I get to make the actor's minimum, which is not so terrible. And I also teach Bible at my kids' school one Friday a month, and I'm a substitute as well for the same school. So multiple revenue streams has been a part of my life for a while now. When I got brought on as lead pastor at my church, I made sure they knew that I do dabble in multiple revenue streams, but it will never interfere or have any sort of major impact on my life as a pastor.
You know, to be fair, interject. I think so it would do well for churches to realize sometimes pastors have side hustle because I need an outlet. Like one of the things I hate that I don't get to do anymore is I don't get to create like I used to. And having that is like the best way for me just to get it out my system. Like sometimes it's not even about the money sometimes. Yeah. It's almost therapeutic in its own self.
Well, it's always about the money for me because I'm a big fan. So like Tim and I, we did a whole lot of download youth ministry work together for years and years. It's slowed down in our roles as senior pastors, but that's probably been the most consistent side hustle that I ever got to be a part of. Another one that, I know there's philosophical differences with everybody, but there was a season that I would do, 2 or 3 weddings a month for people I didn't know. There's a service called Thumbtack that is always looking for people to do weddings. And in Florida, you have tourists constantly wanting to come down and get married at the beach or, wanting to get married somewhere. And the way that I look at it is you're never going to lead someone to Jesus by telling them that they're not good enough for you to marry them. And so my standard for marrying people that are members of my church is very different than if 2 people say, hey, we want to get married. Will you do it? I say, if I'm allowed to present the gospel however I want in your service, then you can have my signature on your piece of paper. And so, that was a season, when I was not preaching every Sunday morning, doing a couple weddings per Saturday was a neat extra side hustle that doesn't quite make as much sense for my family anymore. And with the kind of changing of the seasons coming into the senior ministry position here, as the download youth ministry royalties were not making as much as they were because Tim and I we weren't pumping out resources the way that we used to. My wife started to teach for a company called VIP Kid, which kind of replaced that income for our family. And she was a teacher before we had 4 boys in 6 years. And so it kind of gave her the creative outlet of, being a teacher and contributing that way. And so she is up at 5 a.m. a couple days a week, teaching English to little boys and girls in China via the FaceTime camera in her laptop. So VIP Kid, if you want a referral code, I will gladly give you my wife's because you need a bachelor's degree and any experience with children, and you can teach kids English. They do all the lesson plans and everything, but that's something that she has really enjoyed.
I mean, I know I did DYM as well, and I think at least for sure 4 of us. Jeff, did you do anything for like DYM or some other youth ministry company or something?
I wrote like one thing for youthmen.org, and that was it.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I think especially in youth ministry, it kind of lends itself to being very easy and accessible to write curriculum and be a part of it. And like, if you get into the world of like conference speaking and stuff like that, like it's all right. Like there's decent money to be made sometimes. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's definitely like exposure type of thing. But when you become a senior pastor or like a lead pastor, like those opportunities are seems more difficult because like, I mean, you're not going to put your money on Sermon Central and like make money off of it. You know what I'm saying? But it's definitely interesting. What I loved about DYM is there was definitely synergy, right? Like you're already creating stuff for your ministry. You just have to make sure it's edited in such a way, and then boom, you can make a very good passive income. But that kind of stuff doesn't really exist outside of that. I do have a question. You kind of hinted towards this, Tim. Is there ever a moment where you should feel guilty about doing a side hustle? Like is there ever, because like I sometimes wonder, like Delmar, your side hustle is very public, right? You're in the community, you're doing videos. Andrew, you're doing weddings to strangers. like do you ever feel like there's might be an elder or someone like looking at you and like, are we not paying you enough? Like, why are you doing this? Like, do you ever feel guilt about your side hustle?
I try to set some boundaries in my side hustle that keep me from crossing that line. For example, I'm never going to do a job for someone in town on behalf of the church and charge money. So one of the things, my side hustle, I train people in my church how to run cameras. And a new business comes to town and I want to shoot a highlight video to them. I will go shoot a highlight video them for free and just give it to them as a gift from our church to them. I've had them try to come back and pay me. I was like, I can't. I'm doing this on behalf of the church. If we were talking about this on the side over here, but I really never blend the streams of revenue and my ministry.
Yeah, I think we do have to be a little bit careful here. So that's why I'm very vocal about my side hustles with my elders, with our church staff, and with a lot of our church people as well. It's been an issue in the past. Our previous lead pastor, he did have a job on the side, and it was seen somewhat negatively because people thought it was really taking away a lot of his time from focusing on the church. So I try to make sure and make it a point that I'm usually doing my side hustle work on my days off, or if it does coincide with a typical work day, I'll then replace that day off with a church work day.
I've got something for a buddy of mine has a side hustle that people know that he does, but they don't know how lucrative it is. Mm. And there are regular seasons where he will make more from his side hustle than he makes from his full-time ministry position.
So the ministry position is the side hustle in that case.
Well, he doesn't have the health benefits from the side hustle.
True.
But like the dollars and cents, it's a big whoa, and his struggle is that he does not want people in the church to know how lucrative the side hustle is. Mm. And so he and his family, when they tithe on that side hustle, they're sponsoring missionaries separately, missionaries that their church supports, that they're writing checks directly to that missionary or to that missions organization, so that it's not funneling through the church office, I certainly get that there's other components in that as well, but to have the side hustle that is so successful that you don't want people to know,
that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
But that's definitely my advice for those who are considering a side hustle. What are you already good at? Where are you naturally gifted? Like in Dell's situation, he was already doing videos for student ministry. It made sense for him to get into the world of videography. And it was the same for me for video production. I just had connections with guys and they needed extra help there. And so it made sense for me to step into that role. So I would hope that you wouldn't try to go out and learn a whole new something, but what are you already good at that you can use? And maybe you'll actually enjoy doing your side hustle too.
Yeah, I would love, for 1 minute, I would love to hear, if you were skilled in something, what could be a good overlay for pastors? One thing I was actually thinking, I was telling this to Jeff before you guys all got on, is I wish Jeff had a PC so we could play video games with each other. And so we could start a Twitch. I want to start a Twitch channel. And I think, because I already play video games, it's already fun and relaxing to me. If I could just have some fun talking to someone else while playing it, and have some sort of passive revenue from Amazon for Twitch, I would love that. I mean, I have no idea how that world works, but what about you guys? What are some side hustles that maybe there's someone listening that could be oh, I never thought I could do that as a side hustle?
Well, I mean, something I've done in the past is other than the videography and the website building stuff that we've kind of already touched on, I've made a few pieces of furniture for people. So a little bit of woodworking is always something fun. I'm kind of learning that I'm project oriented in terms of that stuff. So I like having some kind of project on the side that I can do. So right now, because I live in an older parsonage, that side project is the house I live in. And so there's a long list of painting and fixing the backyard up and all kinds of stuff. But I've done a little tiny bit of woodworking on the side, building a few tables with benches, and it's pretty satisfying. I mean, because they pay you to do it, and it's not a huge income thing, but it's like vacation money, put it aside, whatever. Now, something that I've done here since I've been the pastor here, since I've been a senior pastor, I guess, is funerals for the people in the community, which has also been a little bit like what Andrew said, a little bit of an opportunity to connect with people. But funeral homes here occasionally call me and say, "Are you available to meet with this family?" And it actually pays pretty well. Now you have on here, when should you not do a side hustle? And I think you shouldn't do a side hustle if you're planning to leave your church as a way to leave. That's not healthy. You should talk to somebody about what your plans are, but don't blindside a church with hey, by the way, I quit and I'm going to be doing this.
So you're saying that like bringing Cuban sandwiches to Milwaukee, I can't just do that as my plan to leave my church?
Listen, you have your own elders to deal with on that.
I have noticed this.
Frankie's food truck? That sounds awesome.
Frankie's
That would
food
be
truck.
awesome.
That's funny.
Okay, listen, Cuban food
was
truck
good,
is
though.
designed as a tank because Frank the Tank.
Dude, yes, I'm in.
Go with it.
I was
Hold
gonna
on,
say,
we want royalties now.
5%.
Okay, that's how that works.
I
Yeah.
have noticed that a lot of pastors are also real estate agents. Have you noticed that there's like a lot of pastors who are also real estate?
I've never
A
heard
lot
of
of
that.
Care of the
pastors that
Lord's
have-
earth, man.
A lot of pastors that have had affairs are real estate agents.
Ouch.
There's-
Okay.
Yikes! All right, hey.